Hi guys, Harry here, and welcome to my breakdown of the first episode of Doctor Who Redacted SOS. And I just want to say this this podcast was great. Now, before we get into the video, don't forget to subscribe, but also leave a like and comment down below. And let's get into the video. So, the episode starts off with the promotional material we've heard before of the Doctor trying and failing to get through. And then it goes into a very grounded, very realistic, homemade intro of the Blue Box file, which is obviously made by Abby, Cleo and Shauna, who are the three main characters of this podcast, this series. And I like the fact that it's very homemade. Obviously, it makes it seem like more grounded, more realistic in the universe of Doctor Who. And I like how the girls are messing about together, and they're talking about their own life, and they're talking about boys, and they're talking about just like other different conspiracy theories, and it just makes it feel like more grounded, more realistic, and just like makes them seem like real friends. And I think that is great. But the real meat, as it is, of this episode is Adipose Industries, and that is the main focus of the episode. And if you don't know what Adipose Industries is, it is from 2008's Partners in Crime. So the first episode where, excluding the Runaway Bride, where Donna Noble was with the 10th Doctor, and that was the episode that she finally decided that she wanted to travel with the Doctor in the TARDIS and see the universe. And I think it's great we're getting, because Adipose Industries, it was a big thing, and they were it was all over England, especially very focused in London, as we saw all those people taking the adipose pills when Miss Foster brought it all the way to the max to get as many adipose children as she could. And it is obviously there was a lot of people taking the pills, and then for it to just go away, it doesn't seem like it would work in the universe. But I'm great that these girls are bringing it up in their Blue Box files. There's also, Cleo brings up a woman who used to live in, or who does live in, the Powell estate, which is Rose and Jackie Tyler's home. That's where they were in, obviously, Series 1 and Series 2. So that is a big reference to the Doctor's first companion of New Who, Rose Tyler. And it's just great to see more references there as well. Then we also get a reference to fat babies, which are obviously the adipose children, and and a lot of them called them fat or fat babies. So it's keeping in time. Just even the references that people make is a reference we can see. And then the obvious thing bringing them to look at Adipose Industries is the Blue Box, because obviously it's the Blue Box files. They're looking for sightings of anything, and there is one confirmed sighting of a TARDIS in the alleyway near Adipose Industries, and that is a big thing because I think this is where where Donna finally joined the Doctor, where she left her car near the Blue Box. Now, they bring up a fact, Abby or Shauna bring up a fact that no one from the company was ever seen again. And that is a bit hard to believe, because we obviously had all the people, at least 50 people in that office, and they didn't know that anything shady was going on with Adipose Industries. And there was also the 2 security guards who got knocked out. Obviously, they knew what Adipose Industries was about. And Miss Foster was splattered on the ground, although she might have been too splattered because it was from the top floor to the floor, so you might not know about her. And it says lights in the sky, but clearly in 2008's Partners in Crime, it was clearly a spaceship, so there is something definitely wrong there. But it's just great to see Adipose Industries come back. Now, we, after the Blue Box files close and they close their podcast, they have a chance of interviewing Penny Carter, a woman from The Observer, who says that she'll talk to them about adipose industries and the Doctor, and is sent for Cleo to go and interview this person, as she is the closest person in London where Penny Carter is. And we meet her brother, Jordan, who is just a normal man, and he says that in his work, one of his co-workers, Tony, quite a quiet man but has always done his work, has disappeared. And this is a reference to, obviously, the people being redacted from reality as they know the Doctor. There is also a radio or TV broadcast of the fact that Graham and Ryan, which are the 13th Doctor's companions from, obviously, Series 11 and Series 12, who left in the New Year special, and they disappeared, and the Sheffield police are looking for anyone related to that incident called the Doctor. So obviously the police know something about the Doctor, or maybe this is a reference with UNIT or another kind of organisation like Torchwood that know about the Doctor, and they're informing the police on it, and maybe they have something that is stopping people getting redacted from reality, as I have seen episode 2, and it's going a lot bigger than you think, but just for now in this episode, Graham and Brian have gone missing. So Abby phones Shauna, talking about the Doctor, how Graham and Ryan have disappeared and how they're looking for someone called the Doctor. And there's a moment between Abby and Shauna, obviously Abby complaining about her boyfriend and Shauna being like, well, I'm biased, I prefer girls. So, there's a moment between them of a bit of romance. So, before Cleo goes to meet Penny Carter, she has one final moment with Jordan, and they talk about their mum coming to see them and coming to see Cleo, and she wants to see both of them meet up, have like lunch together or something. And it's revealed that not only does Cleo's mum want to see her, she also listens to their podcast. And there's a bit of a moment with that Cleo doesn't trust her mum because their dad just went missing in the middle of the night. Now, he might have been redacted from reality as well, considering how far this thing goes in the second episode, but it feels like it's quite a bit of a while ago, so maybe he just left one day, or maybe he was abducted by some different type of aliens. It's all very weird. But it's revealed later in the episode that Cleo's mum is sick, and that's why she wants to meet Cleo. Unfortunately, Cleo doesn't think that she's being truthful, but there's the thing that, like, some homegrown drama, it's just not Easter eggs of Doctor Who. So, the Doctor leaves Cleo a voicemail, but the message fails to get through, so Cleo just deletes it. So when Cleo meets up with Penny Carter, she is exactly the journalist from 2008's Partners in Crime. It's the same newspaper, The Observer. Unfortunately, it isn't the same actress, but everything else is 100% the same. It's the same journalist from Partners in Crime, and it's just insane that we get one singular character from an episode back in 2008 brought up again to head this part of the podcast. But she asks for her name to be removed and her voice to be altered because she doesn't want it going back to her. I don't know why, but considering what happened in Partners in Crime, it's not too far-stretched, as she got basically tied up and chased around by armed guards. However, when Cleo asks about the Doctor, she can't remember what he looks like. She just says there's a black circle where his face should be, and she can't remember whether he was called the Doctor or just Doctor. And then another moment of diversity where Penny reveals that she has a girlfriend, and she can't obviously go too much into it, otherwise she'll get in trouble with her girlfriend. And it's just great to see more diversity of Penny either being gay or pan or bisexual. I don't know which one exactly, but it's great to see the diversity. There is also a reference when Abby rings up Cleo, and there is a reference to the Linda group from Love and Monsters, and she says hopefully she isn't a wacko from the Linda group, which I think is a bit harsh, because Linda actually, aside from the Absorbaloff and the weird jokes and the Doctor and Rose turning up at the end, Linda was a great group, and I feel like in a different episode it could have been an amazing episode with an amazing premise. Unfortunately, it was an amazing premise, but the episode fell short and was a bit lackluster. And then we get a name drop of the series when Abby gets a letter from the Doctor, and she phones up Cleo, and of course they were talking about Linda before, and along that course she goes, sorry, I don't know what I called for, and every time she tries to remember that she called Cleo to say about the letter from the Doctor, she can't remember. And it's the same thing with Penny Carter, so even just memories about the Doctor are being redacted, and that's where the name drop comes in, and it's just so crazy that even people can't even remember the Doctor. It's not just people who know the Doctor being redacted, it's memories as well. Okay, the final bit of this podcast ends with Cleo finishing her call with Abby and her going on her way back to work, and then she gets a call from Rani Chandra, which is obviously from Sarah Jane, from the Sarah Jane Adventures, the young girl across the road, and obviously she's going to be early mid-20s now, around there, maybe late 20s, but is Rani from the Sarah Jane Adventures. This is just so crazy. There's only been references, like, the show hasn't referenced the Sarah Jane Adventures hardly at all since 2008's the Journey's End, the Stolen Earth Journey's End, and that was the only real end mention. And of course we know that Rani knows the Doctor because in the Sarah Jane Adventures, which is canonical with Doctor Who, she's met the 10th and the 11th Doctor, and her message to Cleo is, the Doctor is killing us. And that is just, I felt goosebumps when I first heard it, and it is just great that Rani's there and she delivers such a badass line, and it's showing that this podcast is not messing about. And then we hear the end titles, and it sounds like a twist on the Doctor's theme, very close to what we had in Partners in Crime, the end theme of the Doctor, David Tennant, and obviously Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant's theme at the end of their episodes they had. So maybe it's more connected to the Tennant era, and we'll see a lot of that, and maybe it will go on maybe a bit in Eccleston's era, and maybe even move on to Matt Smith and Capaldi's era, and we'll get some, obviously we've had some reference to Jodie Whittaker's era. But I think if you want some Doctor Who media, listen to this podcast. It is 100 times better, and I know I might be crucified for this, and this is kind of crucifying my own videos, but if you want to watch some Doctor Who media, don't watch the shows, don't watch the Flux and the new specials we've had from Whittaker's era. Watch this podcast, because it is 100 times better than anything we've had in recent years from Doctor Who on TV. But let me know what you think of this episode down in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe and share it out, and I will see you in the next one.